Find the average slope from point A to point D as a percent. In this problem, points A, B, C, and D are located on an XY coordinate system. The exact coordinates of these points are provided in a table of values where the units of length are in feet. The elevation of point A is provided as 362.01 feet, and the backsite and foresight measurements from a level survey are provided. This leveling data is also in units of feet. The average slope of a line segment equals the change in elevation between the two endpoints divided by the horizontal length between the two endpoints. Next, we'll add a subscript AD to both of these terms because we're looking to find the average slope from point A to point D. We can determine the horizontal length, delta L sub AD, by using the given coordinate data for points A and D, where the length equals the square root of the difference in x coordinate values squared plus the difference in y coordinate values squared. After plugging in these values, we find the change in the horizontal length between points A and D equals 397.33 feet. This length will be the denominator in our quotient to calculate the average slope. The change in length between points A and D can be calculated using the level survey data provided in the problem statement, where the change in elevation from point A to point D equals the elevation at point D minus the elevation at point A, which is given as 362.01 feet. We can find the elevation at point D by adding the elevation at point C to the backside reading to point C minus the foresight reading to point D. The survey data provides the backside to point C and the foresight to point D, but not the elevation of point C. We'll write a similar equation for the elevation at point C, and a third equation for the elevation at point B. 362.01 feet plus 1.95 feet minus 4.84 feet equals the elevation at point B, which equals 359.12 feet. When plugging in the variables for the equation at point C, the elevation at point C equals 364.90 feet. 364.90 feet plus 4.63 feet minus 5.85 feet equals 363.68 feet. Next, we can find the change in elevation by subtracting the elevation at point A from the elevation at point D, which equals 1.67 feet. To find the average slope from point A to point D, we'll divide 1.67 feet into 397.33 feet, and the average slope of line segment AD equals 0.0042, which, as a percentage, equals 0.42%. When reviewing the possible solutions, the answer is B.